Hi, everyone. It's Rachel Williamson from Running Great Stores. And today I am doing a solo podcast. The reason is because I have some important information that I want to share, and I didn't want to wait until I had the perfect guest. And I know that Ron Thurston and others have been doing something similar. And if you're on the treadmill and you've got your headphones in, this is a terrific podcast for you to listen to. Well, as you know, I run a retail consulting practice called Running Great Stores. I recently published my #1 best-selling book, 30 Days to Running Great Stores. And this book is going to transform the way retail leaders run retail stores. That's the goal. That's the dream. And that's what we're starting to see happen. Today, I want to talk about what district managers are struggling with and not necessarily saying out loud. Listen, I was a district manager for Bath and Body Works for over 5 years before moving into a corporate role. And I will tell you that I remember being so upfront and honest with my regional manager about everything. And sometimes those things showed up on my reviews. And so it made me really wonder, should I be sharing as openly everything I'm thinking about with my boss? Or are there some things that maybe I should just share with a peer or someone in the family? So there are definitely things that district managers go through that they may not be saying out loud. So let's jump in. I think district managers, if you are in retail and you're listening to this is going to seem pretty real to you. Today, we're going to talk about what you're actually struggling with and not saying, as we said. And honestly, this is exactly why I wrote my book, 30 Days to Running Great Stores, because the issues that you're dealing with aren't random. They're patterns. And once you see those patterns clearly, you can actually start to fix them. Let's get into it. So let me ask you a question. District managers, are all of your stores running great? That's the question. Or are you spending most of your time putting out fires? Because here's what I've seen over and over again in retail. District managers are carrying a lot more than anyone realizes. And most of it, they're not really saying out loud. Now, I recently read somewhere that someone said, if you were a district manager, you had the second hardest job in the company. And that was managing the first hardest job in the company, which is the store managers, those closest to the customer. Here's the reality. This is what's actually happening in retail right now. Turnover is high, but not just high, it's extreme. Ron Thurston has a really great podcast about this that I just listened to yesterday. Retail in America is the name of the podcast. So I'm not going to regurgitate the things that he mentioned, but you're going to want to listen to that podcast, and I'll link it in the comments below. But the average turnover rate from the research that I did is somewhere around 60%, but it definitely goes higher than that. That's probably the lowest that you're going to find. Some sectors climb way past 80%, and even over 100% for hourly store employees. That means in many stores, you are rebuilding your team every single year. Think about that. How do you build consistency when your team keeps changing? How do you raise the expectation on what the customer experience looks like if it's always somebody's first day, first week, first month? Here's the part no one really is talking about. Turnover doesn't just cost money. It costs the customer experience. It costs confidence. It costs consistency. And it costs customer trust. And most importantly, it puts more pressure on you, the district manager. So let's say it out loud. Here are what district managers are dealing with. Number 1, inconsistent store execution. You walk into one store, it's great. You walk out on cloud 9. You walk into another, same brand, same product, completely different experience. That's not a strategy problem. That's a leadership problem. Number 2, store managers who were never taught how to lead. Most store managers were promoted because they were strong associates, because they were great sellers, because they were reliable. Any of this sound familiar? but no one ever necessarily taught them the leadership pipeline curves in the road that happen when you go from managing yourself to managing others. I love the book Leadership Pipeline. It's an oldie, but a goodie. And there are things in there that are still relevant today. So District Managers, one of the best books about how to develop talent. And you're going to stop promoting people because they're really good at the job they're in. And you're going to start promoting people because they're demonstrating capability for the job that you want to put them in. We have many store managers out there that have not been taught how to hire top talent, how to find people. It's hard enough just to get candidates, but how to weed out the best candidates that are a fit for your brand, that are a fit for the store, that are a fit for the very role that you need them to be a fit for. Not all store manager roles are the same. What changes? How much volume does the store do? Where is it located? Is it a high traffic mall, a low traffic mall? Is it a high conversion store? Is it a low conversion store? Is it a high ADS store, average dollar sale, or is it a high UPT store? And all of these characteristics innately built into retail stores impacts the type of leader that store needs to really thrive. Some store managers haven't been taught how to coach. They think they can just tell people what to do and it'll all work. I remember being that young leader that thought telling people what to do would work. My mom told me what to do and I did it, but it didn't work. It actually didn't work for me as the child of someone who was bossy like that, and it didn't work for the people I was leading. And so it took time to learn how you coach, how you meet people where they are, and not use a one-size-fits-all approach to coaching. Some store managers have never been taught how to develop a team. So how do I take a mix of people and learn and cohese them and teach them how to do the role that they need to do? And then last but not least, and there's probably a lot more to this list, but last but not least, how to connect behaviors to results. So often we look at results. Conversion is at 10%. We should get that up. We go out to the sales floor and we say, okay, everybody, we need to get conversion up. Let's go do it. Well, most of people will say okay and nod and smile and want to be team players. But if you take them aside and say, what do you think this means? What do you think it looks like? I get many blank stares and I get even more, I'm not sure. And so it's important to connect behavior to the results we're looking for. Not necessarily born with this, right? You have to learn it. And so again, these 4 things, how to hire top talent, how to coach, how to develop a team, and how to connect behaviors to results, all things that store managers may not have been taught when they were promoted. And now they're expected to lead a business. And in many instances, these are very high volume stores. We just gave the keys to $1 million store to someone that may not have the fundamentals down. Now, district managers, I am not saying that you are somehow failing here, that you are falling down. So many times we inherit talent, don't we? We get hired in to be the district manager and we have who we have. And so this is that reality. Number 3, reality of what's going on in retail right now, constant turnover and a constant reset. Every time someone leaves, you're sourcing new talent, you're hiring, you're onboarding, retraining, rebuilding the team. And here's the reality. Onboarding gets rushed, training gets skipped, and standards start to slip, making the customer experience slip. And it just becomes a cycle. Now your customers are being assisted, maybe not, with someone who isn't trained or confident about what they're selling. Number 4, there's pressure from above and there's chaos below. You're getting pressure from leadership, drive sales, improve KPIs, fix performance. You're dealing with staffing gaps, inexperienced leaders, inconsistent execution. That gap between what you're being asked to do and the people you have to do it is exhausting. It's mentally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. So I want to talk now about the root problem. Here's the truth. This is not a people problem. It's not even a turnover problem. It's a leadership development problem. Because when leaders aren't developed, teams aren't consistent, behaviors aren't reinforced, and customer experience breaks down. And no amount of promotions or marketing or strategy fixes it. And the data backs this up. One of the biggest drivers of turnover in retail is lack of career development, lack of strong leadership, lack of people feeling like they're being seen. People don't just leave jobs. They leave environments where they don't feel developed. So let's talk about the shift. So what actually works? Not another training program, not another one-day workshop. What works is this: daily leadership habits, practiced consistently, reinforced across stores. That's it. And that's why I wrote 30 Days to Running Great Stores. Not as a book to read, but as a system to use. Because when district managers implement it with every one of their stores in the right way, you have leaders focused on one behavior at a time, and the teams start to change. Execution becomes more consistent, and results begin to follow. Now I've built an implementation guide to go with it, because the difference isn't the content, it's the consistency. Now look, this isn't just another book of theory of, I hope this works, try it. It's not just hype. This book is a culmination of what I used in the last 30 years of my retail career that had me move from being a ice cream scooper at 14 years old at Baskin-Robbins to the vice president of transformation and now the CEO of Running Great Stores, a retail consulting practice. So this isn't a, let's hope it works. This is a, it works if you apply it. So to close this conversation out, if you're a district manager listening to this, you're not crazy. The challenges you're dealing with are real and you are not alone. But here's the opportunity. You don't have to fix everything at once. You just have to focus your leaders, build the right habits, and reinforce them consistently. Because great stores don't happen by accident. They're built one leader, one behavior, one day at a time. If this resonates with you, I'd love to hear what you're seeing in your stores. And if you are working on developing your store leaders, let's talk. Now, I hope today's conversation resonated. You're not alone. And more importantly, this is fixable district managers, multi-unit leaders. And this is exactly why I wrote my book, 30 Days to Running Great Stores. It hit the #1 bestseller list on Amazon by the third day that it was out and available. If you're serious about developing your store leaders and getting your stores to actually start running great and consistently, it's time to get the book. When the publisher saw the manuscript, he jumped at the chance to publish it because he said, there are no books like this out there. So I want you to, one, follow and subscribe on my YouTube so that you never miss videos from me, podcasts from me, etc. Wherever podcast platform you are listening to this to, I hope you'll subscribe to the Running Great Stores podcast. And I'd love to hear from you. My email is rachel@runninggreatstores.com. And I hope that you will email me. I'm happy to give you a bulk code discount to order books for your entire district. The books will come autographed and personalized to each of your store managers. And as well, you'll receive the implementation guide to go with it. So I hope this was an enjoyable conversation. I sure would love to have had all of you in the room with me while we talked about it. But until next time, let's go run great stores.